Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. As you guys can see up on the screen today, I wanted to talk a little bit about Abbvie Incorporated. This is ticker symbol ABBV. And one reason I want to talk about them, obviously, is what happened with them today. They were down 7%, which is pretty big. Obviously, we've seen bigger, we've seen crazier, we've seen more massive drops, more massive ups. Usually, we talk about a little bit more volatility on this channel, but Abbvie is actually not your typical biopharmaceutical company. You know, it's not one of these tiny, super kind of volatile, super crazy stocks. This one is actually very big, and usually it's relatively stable. Abbvie right now, even after this crash, is sitting at right around a $200 billion market cap. And it's a stock that a lot of people are invested in. Obviously, it's a stock that gets talked about on YouTube sometime. I know the guy who does the stock market, that channel, he actually talks about ABVV a lot. And in this video today, we're going to be going over what happened with it, why it dropped so big today, where maybe it's headed in the future, and just kind of giving you guys an update on this whole situation, because it's actually pretty interesting. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much, and subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much. Hopefully we're on our way to 2,000 before too long. We can get there a little bit faster with your help by clicking that button really quick. I would appreciate it a ton. With that being said, let's get right into this. So again, if you guys didn't know about Abbvie, this is a big company. This is a big biopharmaceutical company. And the stock is usually pretty stable. Over the last week, it was what? Down 0.24% before, this madness that happened today. Year to date, if this stuff will load, the stock's actually been doing pretty well. It was up. Let's see where it was before this crash. It was up like 14-15%, so just having a good year. 15% in 8 months is really good. But it definitely has some ups and downs, but it's not like crazy volatile. I mean, if you look at most biopharmaceutical stocks that are like a $1 billion market cap or less, I mean, they're, up here in February, they're off the chart in February, and then they're like underneath the chart by June, and then they're coming back. I mean, it's way all over the place. This definitely has some ups and downs. It's definitely going back and forth, but trading within a pretty narrow window between, the highs of like 121 and the lows of like 102. That's not that crazy volatile at all. I mean, even from the top to the bottom, it's like an 18% increase from the very bottom to the very top in 2021. So this is a good stock. A lot of people like it. It pays a dividend. It has a lot of good things about it. Solid growth. And yeah, they have a wide array of, different drugs and treatments and all that stuff. But the big news coming out today, why it saw a 7% drop, and even at one point, was down as much as like 11 or 12%, was this news coming out from, this is Reuters.com, the U.S. FDA seeks new warnings on drugs from Pfizer, Lilly, and Abbvie. Obviously not good news to hear. We love for these biopharmaceutical companies to be hearing good news from the FDA. We love FDA approval. We love clearance of a new, trial, or that the FDA is showing some positive signs about a drug, treatment, whatever. But obviously negative reactions, backlash from the FDA is never good. You do not want to be on their bad side. You do not want them to be putting out bad news about you, because so many biopharmaceutical stocks, their stocks and their shareholders and their prices run on good news and constantly passing trials and getting new drugs out and getting new treatments out and FDA approval and all that stuff. And even when they have no news, they slowly start to fade. They'll trade sideways. They'll trade down because other stocks, are popping up, and big news is popping up all over the place. So it's already hard enough for a lot of these biopharmaceutical companies as it is to continue to trade higher and higher in a very competitive market where there's a ton of money, jumping ship all the time. So bad news, you can assume how bad that can be. But the article here does talk a little bit about the situation. The U.S. drug regulator has asked Pfizer, Eli Lilly, and Abbvie to include information about risks of serious conditions and death from the use of their drugs that belong to a class of treatments known as JAK inhibitors. The warnings on Wednesday stem from the FDA's review of Pfizer's arthritis drug, Xeljanz, after initial results from a February trial showed an increased risk of serious heart-related problems and cancer with the drug. That is obviously not good. One, it's not good just as, being a human being with like a heart. You do not want to hear about that stuff happening to people. If people are having heart-related issues, if people are getting cancer from your drug, that is obviously horrible. Killing people, making people sick, whatever. Also, it's terrible publicity, and then also you're putting yourself at the risk of lawsuits and just being shut down and or having to pull your drug off the market, all that stuff, losing so much revenue, all the money you put into R&D and advertisement and all that stuff. So this is bad in so many different ways. Abbvie shares did close down 7%, while Pfizer and Eli Lilly were only slightly lower. I haven't actually looked at the exact prices of those, but that is kind of weird. I mean, obviously Abbvie must have must have more impact on them based on like the percentage of their revenue that comes from certain drugs or treatments or whatever. Obviously Pfizer is a massive company. But it is interesting that this whole thing is actually stemming from the Pfizer drug. So, it does kind of suck for Abbvie that they weren't even the ones getting caught up. But obviously, if they are in the same class of drugs, they're probably, or at least there's a chance that they're not too different. So even though it was Pfizer getting cracked down on, obviously Abbvie is still facing the repercussions and feeling those definitely, and it's scaring investors, obviously. Pfizer said the update would bring important clarity on for healthcare providers on the risk and benefit profile of Xeljanz. JAK inhibitors like this block inflammation causing enzymes known as Janus kinases and target autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis and ulcerative colitis. The FDA said that Lilly's drug Olumiant and Abbvie's Rinvoq, I hate the names of drugs, have similar operating mechanisms leading to the possibility of risk seen in the Xeljanz safety trial. Based on available data, access across approved and investigational indications, we remain confident in the positive benefit to risk profile of their drug, Lilly said, and Abbvie did not immediately respond to requests. So that could mean that they are not still confident in the positive benefit risk profile of their JAK inhibitor, or it could just mean that they didn't respond, or it could also mean that they haven't done enough, research or don't exactly have the data there to say whether or not they are confident. So that is where this comes to a really, really interesting investing decision where you guys, are going to have to dive into this stuff deeper. You are going to have to look at some of this data, look at the drugs, look at the treatments, look at what all is out there and come to your own conclusions of whether or not you believe that Abbvie's drug, is going to face more negative backlash, if it's going to face more negative repercussions, if it's going to hurt sales, if it's going to hurt, number of people that are using it, number of people that have access to it. Or there is a world where, Lilly's coming out and saying, hey guys, we're so confident in our drug, don't overreact. We think this is going to be okay. So there is a world where maybe this is an overreaction. The stock market oftentimes underreacts and overreacts to news, and it leaves investors in interesting positions where if you do believe that the stock market is overreacting to this news, you could potentially get this stock, for 7% off, 7% cheaper. And if you think it's going to rebound right back up to these prices, you could make a quick little profit. I mean, there's people today, who bought the dip right here, and they're up like 4 or 5% in a couple of hours. And there's people who bought down here who also think it's going to go back to like 120, and they're going to be up 10 to 15%. And that's if the stock doesn't even continue on its trajectory where it's up 16% on the year, whatever. The stock had been having a very, very good year. So there is a potential that this is very, very bad news for Abbvie, and it's going to start maybe the beginning of a downtrend. But there also is a possibility that this is potentially an overreaction to the FDA news, or that more information is going to come out that's actually going to shed a positive light on this whole situation scenario, and Abbvie could definitely bounce back. So definitely dive into all this, find out for your own, do some more research, and come to your own conclusions, because this could potentially, be an interesting little play to make, or it could be something to stay away from entirely. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I'd appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about Abbv. I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.